Woke up at dawn with the pelicans in flight. Coffee brewing strong by dawn's early light. Waves whisper secrets to my open heart. The life around this water gets me off to a great start. Parrots wild, squawking loud in the old palm tree. Dolphin smiles, brighter than the Texas sun on me. We chase simple dreams, nothing fancy or grand, just honest days in this promised land. God gives rainbow horizons to those in this happy lane. Diamonds dancing on the waves, back sparkling again. Honest living, a pursuit of peace, family ties and the happiness we seek. Love, forgotten country running deep in our veins. Through the storms and the trials we break those chains. Good living brings the blessings we see. Rainbow horizons calling to me.
All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and jump right back into this thing with Bill Clinton. We're a little bit more than halfway finished with it, so let's go ahead and get that done. For those of you that are interested, a lot of people are not interested, and that's okay too. And so we'll go ahead and finish this, and then probably, because it's almost 8 o'clock now, probably going to finish the Bill Clinton one, and then we'll do the Hillary Clinton one. I might be able to find an hour tomorrow. Probably not. It's probably going to be a Wednesday before I can come back and do the Hillary Clinton interview. But we'll power through this one and see how far we get. And I thought the first half was interesting. Not what I expected from Bill Clinton, but he's in a really weird situation. And so maybe this is the best that the attorneys could come up with. So let's go ahead and see how things go with the rest of this. That is Cheryl Mills. She was a deputy attorney for the Clinton White House. She also serves in the capacity of Hillary Clinton's attorney. And she is a constant figure by their side. So she is the bulldog, great protector of all things Clinton. And you'll see her jump in pretty forcefully when there's questions that she doesn't want him answering.
8. So that's, yeah. Okay.
Hey, Zelda. Good to see you. Hey, Kathy. Team Doocy Doo.
Yep. So you can see here that on April 27th, 1995, Lynn Forrester, now Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, sounds like served on a few committees or boards under your administration, wrote you a note. I'll just read part of that note out loud. Dear Mr. President, it was a pleasure to see you recently at Senator Kennedy's house. There was too much to discuss and too little time. Using my 15 seconds of access to discuss Jeffrey Epstein and currency stabilization, I neglected to talk to you about a topic near and dear to my heart, namely affirmative action and the future. And that's the end of the relevant portion. I just wanted to ask whether you have any specific recollection of this note or of your conversation with Ms. Forrester.
I don't.
As far as you can remember, at this point in the middle of 1995, how would you have characterized your relationship with Mr. Epstein?
It would be virtually non-existent.
Okay. I want to interrupt right there to address Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. Aside from the conspiracy theory, Rothschild blood, one of the original families, basically the world power structure, Yes, she is of those Rothschilds. But she is critically important to this whole Epstein Clinton um, Prince Andrew contingency. Whenever you hear Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, whenever you hear them bring up her name, pay special close attention. And the reason is this, because Lynn Rothschild, she is the physical and spiritual connection between the Clintons, the British royalty, aka King Charles, Prince Andrew, even Harry and William to some extent. I do believe Meghan Markle is an Epstein girl. I do think that that's been proven. So Lynn Forrester de Rothschild is the connection between the Clintons, the British royalty, and it's not just Andrew and Charles. That would also include like Eugenie, Beatrice, Eugenie, Andrew's wife or ex-wife, I guess. They were all, Fergie, they were all so intimately wrapped up with Epstein that it is virtually impossible in a very real way. It's virtually impossible to separate the royal family from Epstein. You just can't. Even if you look at Ghislaine Maxwell and her father, his connection with the pedophiles that surrounded King Charles when he was young. There is something very uncomfortable about Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, British royalty, and here's the big part, the banking infrastructure, macro transportation networks like airlines, right? Like the people that own the big airlines of the world, KLM and such. This woman is in all of the filth, even other cults, right? She has never been questioned by law enforcement, either British, German, or US. She is an untouchable, it appears. So it is laughable at best. I mean, it is hilarious that Hillary and Bill Clinton are basically doubling down saying, oh, no, we don't know Jeffrey Epstein. We have no connection to him. Went to his house one time. Don't know anything about him, yada, yada, yada. It is laughable because of that core group of people, Andrew, Fergie, Charles, Ghislaine and her dad, Epstein, and the Clintons. You're like, wait a minute. You can't be Bill and Hillary Clinton so cozy with Lynn Rothschild that, she doesn't have to announce herself to come to the White House to see Hillary. You can't be that in with the Rothschild family and the royal family and not have the connection to Epstein. It's impossible. It just can't be done. So, Epstein was heavily investigated by the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. Even though the Rothschild, they are worldwide international banking, that is who they are, right? They've never found any entanglements with the SEC. They've never had those problems. And how many people have made jokes about the Clintons and getting Arkansaded? How many people can you make that joke about and say, oh, well, yeah, they have had 278 close friends meet their end in a very mysterious way, like committing suicide by shooting yourself with a nail gun 150 times. That is a very strange way to commit suicide. You know what I mean? so, so look, Epstein was a college dropout. He was not a mental giant. That is not what he was. He's like a Anton. He's like the devil in the flesh, right? He's notable for all of his extraordinary fringe appetites. And he's notable for seemingly having the ability to take $1 million and turn it into $1 billion overnight. But now we know more about what he was actually doing. For example, one of the reasons that Prince Andrew was arrested is because he basically was the minister of business and commerce, and all of the deals that were about to happen with the country of England, Jeffrey Epstein was being told about it beforehand, so then he could set up the money in the way that he would benefit from the change in commerce. And his friends, he turned them on to the secrets of Andrew and the English Department of Commerce. So, and I don't think that he was only doing it with England. I think he had the same kind of inside track with members of Congress. I think he was benefiting off of big U.S. government contracts, just like he was benefiting off of the English work. And the fact that you have the banking family Rothschild that is all wrapped up in this, you know, it's not a far cry to sort of look at Bill Clinton with, you know, skepticism and go, oh, you never met him, really? You were a Rhodes Scholar. You were a Rhodes Scholar, which means that you were having dinner with royalty when you were in college. You were roommates with dukes and duchesses. You had access to Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew. You were a part of that inside crowd, which is what made an aw shucks boy from South Arkansas who didn't have a dime to his name attractive to the likes of Hillary Clinton, a woman who basically her dad was mafia, right? So it is simply laughable to believe for a minute that Bill Clinton made good as an old country boy, number one. No, he was very attractive to Hillary, and Hillary is the one that had the connections to politics and, I guess, you know, business, right? I think it's really unfortunate that Trump took this route, that Clinton took this route to say, oh, no, I don't know him, never knew him, one time at his house, yada, 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 yada. I don't think that's even realistic. We know that he made friends with royal friends when he was in England going to college there. He came back to the United States and was instantly picked up by Hillary Clinton like she was rescuing a little lost puppy. And from the moment he got involved with Hillary, he was on the pipeline to become a candidate for president of the United States. The governorship of Arkansas, that was just building the foundation for the presidency. And why did these powerful people, why are they grooming future presidents? Because that is how they're making their billions. Do you really believe that Hillary was able to take couple $10,000 in cattle futures and turn that into millions of dollars that not a single Wall Street investor has ever matched that kind of success. Never. Not even Nancy Pelosi has been able to do it. So I think that the wheeling and dealing that you saw from Hillary when she was still just a young girl, I think that suggests a connection to Rothschild and Epstein because they were getting their information from Andrew and the king. Well, he wasn't the king at the time, but they got the inside track on what the country of England was going to be doing financially, and they just got in on the back door. So I think it's just the way they've been operating all along. So Ghislaine Maxwell testified, and she said, and look, this is a woman who was needing a plea deal. She was needing some help. She was in deep trouble. And she testified under oath with the promise of it sort of getting the country club jail setting that Epstein, that Lynn Rothschild introduced Epstein to Prince Andrew, right? And that coincided with the massive just explosion of wealth around Epstein and the Maxwell family. And that at the same time, there is a letter in 1995 where Epstein, in the letter, they're talking about Epstein and Clinton were together, spending time together. Like she was having a discussion about something that they were all doing together. So right there in that one letter, and this isn't her just testifying, this is a hard copy receipt that says 1995, you've got Epstein, Prince Andrew being introduced by Lynn Rothschild, the banking heiress, and President Clinton is wrapped up in these people's businesses, making him then very attractive to Hillary Clinton. See the connection? Lynn Rothschild, Epstein, Prince Andrew, they were in Clinton's life before Hillary. So, okay. And then I think here's the letter, April 27th, 1995. This is by Lynn Forrester de Rothschild. She says, Dear Mr. President Clinton, Dear Mr. President, it was a pleasure to see you recently at Senator Kennedy's house. There was too much to discuss and too little time. Using my 15 seconds of access to discuss Jeffrey and currency stabilization, I neglected to talk with you about a topic near and dear to my heart, namely affirmative action in the future. I'm sending you a copy of a memo by George Stephanopoulos that George Stephanopoulos asked me to prepare, and an article about my participation in an FCC set-aside program. So you see, this woman was in our government as early as 1995. I would very much like to continue my involvement with this issue. You deserve a lot of credit for many of your initiatives in this area. Let me know if I can help you in any way. This is the banking heiress, Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, with Clinton, Ghislaine, Jeffrey Epstein, and there's another letter that connects Jeffrey Epstein, Lynn, and Prince Andrew. I mean, it is messy, 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 messy. All right. Let's see. MWD is doing a lot of talking. Let me see what MWD is saying. Let's see. Clinton bombed Iran. See, so did your committee and you hide the files? You drag these innocents in special place for you. The way she talks and emotes. What a dummy. Okay, well, I hope that your world improves, MWD. All right, so here we go. All right, so it's a little bit of background about listening. When you hear that name Rothschild, listen, because she's the pipeline.
Do you recall any other interactions that occurred between yourself and Mr. Epstein during your time in office that have not already been mentioned today?
No. I think I told you everything I know.
In October of 1999, toward the end of your time in office, we know that Epstein contributed $20,000 to the First Lady's joint fundraising account. Would you have any memory or knowledge of that particular contribution?
No, was that for a White House related thing?
No, joint fundraising, he means the Senate.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Okay, I am going to move to the years after your presidency. We'll do this in chronological order as well. Your second term ended in January of 2001. In December of 2001, the New York Post reported that you and Miss Maxwell had dinner at a New York City restaurant called Nello's. Do you have any specific recollection of that dinner?
No. How do I know? I didn't. Nor do I remember the article.
So moving into 2002, you touched on this in the previous round. It sounds like there were two meetings. We don't have exact dates for them, but one of them was at your office in Harlem with Mr. Epstein. The other was at Mr. Epstein's home in New York City. Could you just repeat for us, what do you recall about each meeting, maybe starting with your office in Harlem?
I just remember that sometime in 2002, I think, he paid a visit, and he had become, I think it was either after or just before we started the flights. But he obviously was going to be a serious supporter of the foundation, and I think he paid a visit. I was flattered he wanted to see my office. I liked it.
And then the meeting at his home in New York City, did I hear you say in the previous hour that Mr. Epstein was not actually there?
I said that when I wrote my book and talked about it, and when I've talked about it in the past, I realized I talked as if he were there, and of course he was there. And I started trying to picture the nice man on the staff that showed me around, and now I'm just being honest, I don't remember whether he was there or not. He could have been there, but I don't remember.
As far as you can recall, would the purpose of that meeting also have been related to Mr. Epstein's support of your work through his plane, for example?
Yeah, the reason we went by, regardless of who was there, was that my staff we finished an event in New York City that at a place, and Lord knows how many I've done since then. I don't remember what it was for, but it was in New York City. And my staff said, we're only a couple blocks from Epstein's house. It's a converted elementary school. He's very proud of it. And I think, it'd be a nice thing to do. Since it's early, you could just go by and take a look at it. So that's what we did.
Do you recall seeing anything or anyone in his home that was suspicious or reflected abnormally young women or girls?
No, the only people I saw there that night were staff and him if he was there. I just don't remember.
Do you recall seeing any images of young girls or women at Epstein's home?
No.
So moving to some of the travel on Mr. Epstein's plane, and we have specific dates for a lot of that. I'd like to move through that chronology of known trips, just one at a time in order. To begin, flight logs indicate that on February 9th of 2002, and we'll give you the logs. You flew on Mr. Epstein's plane from Miami to Westchester County, New York, with Epstein, Maxwell, and some others. And you mentioned this flight in the previous round as well. I will introduce that flight log as Minority Exhibit D. And we'll give you a moment to receive that and take a look at it.
Is this one page?
It is one page, exactly.
Excuse me.
And the flight in question, the leftmost column has the number 9 on it, and you can see your name at the beginning in one of the middle columns.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
At the top, it says 15. Are you talking about a date? Could you just?
Yeah, the one on February 9th.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I do see it.
Great. I'll just ask some specific questions. As an initial question, and we can see it here, you had a Secret Service detail that traveled with you after you left office, presumably still does. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And did that detail accompany you on all trips that you took with Mr. Epstein?
Yes.
For this trip from Miami to Westchester, first, just do you recall the circumstances of the trip?
No, I was down there and I was coming home. I don't remember why I was down there.
In terms of who was present on the flight, and we'll do this exercise with the other trips as well, are you able to make out from the initials here, maybe who is who? In other words, I can see your name and I can see 4 Secret Service. And then from there, we have 2 males, 1 female, I think Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, and then SK and AP. Do you have any recollection of who any of those folks may have been?
No. I just don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't. And the initials, they don't mean anything to me.
This isn't a record from yours. This is their record.
Yeah.
In February in 2002, so the same month as this flight, it was reported that you and Ms. Maxwell were seated together at some type of charity gala in New York. I don't know what the charity was or where exactly the event occurred. Do you have any recollection of what I'm referring to?
Could you state the date again, sir?
In the same month, February 2002, and I don't have an exact date.
What was it reported?
Simply that you and Ms. Maxwell were seated together at a charity gala in New York.
Wow. I have no recollection of it, but it could have happened.
Heading into March of 2002, so the following month, we have a series of international travel. And the first of those trips indicates that on March 19th and 21st of 2002, you flew on Mr. Epstein's plane from JFK to London and back with Mr. Epstein, Ms. Maxwell, and some others. We will introduce those flight logs as Minority Exhibit E and go through the same exercise.
He's worried, isn't he? He's really worried.
And that's the 19th and the 21st.
See, the 19th and the 21st?
Yes. Down toward the bottom of the page.
Oh, hold on, just forget.
Was this a flight to London?
Yes.
Yeah, this says we had 10 Secret Service agents.
So I guess just to start with, do you recall the circumstances or the reason for this trip?
And this was when?
This was March of 2002.
I don't, but keep in mind,
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff going on. the India in the late January, 4 days after I left office, had a horrible earthquake. And lots
Oh,
of people
the
died.
earthquake in Haiti.
And I called the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Vajpayee, who belongs to the current leader's party, but was much less uber nationalist. And I asked him if I could help. And he said, yes. He said, I have the money and organization to fix the big cities, but not the smaller towns. And we need schools, we need hospitals, we need all the stuff rebuilt. Will you help? So that's the first thing I undertook to do, even before the AIDS thing, after I left the White House. So I was there. So by March of 2002, the next year, we were still working on that. And then the South Asian tsunami hit
Wow.
in December.
I didn't realize
So
that
I
was all
doing
in
all this
2002.
Stuff with, and also trying to get set up at home too. So that's why it sounds unusual for me to have 10 Secret Service agents, but I must have been going to several stops.
And is it the same for you when you look at some of these names? I can make out the name Naomi Campbell. Do you have any recollection of Naomi Campbell
What?
being on this flight?
Naomi, when we went to Europe once, I think she went on one. She was a friend of Doug's, and
A friend of who?
that's what a friend of Doug's. And to Europe once, I think she went on one. She was a friend of Doug's, and
I can't understand what he's saying. Doug or
that's
something.
what I remember. Let me see.
Right, Rita? Yeah.
And Jeffrey Ghislaine. I don't know.
The name Naomi Campbell
Looks like
triggered
Doug
something
Band
in
is
it.
listed there, and that.
Yeah, he's there, but SK, I don't know who that is.
Okay, great. Thank you. Moving to May of 2002, just 2 months after the one we just looked at, flight logs show a series of flights around Asia. Got 5 flights, including Hong Kong, China, Singapore, and Thailand. I'll introduce the flight logs for that trip. Just take a look at it together.
On
As
Epstein's
Minority
plane?
Exhibit F.
God, that's so weird, isn't it? Like, why would the relationships are so weird?
You still need it, right?
We do need it. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you very much.
You know what would be an interesting endeavor? It'd be interesting to go back and watch
Yeah,
this
those are
interview from the
22nd
beginning
to the
and count
25th.
the number of times he said, I don't know, I don't remember. That'd be really interesting.
And you're saying each one till the 25th?
Yeah, so the first one lists the former president, and then 4 in a row after that lists same as above. So it's the same group of folks for about 5 flights.
Yep.
So same question, this trip to Asia, do you have a recollection of the circumstances, how the trip came about?
Yeah, that was 2002, right?
Yes.
So we, and when was the tsunami? Was it at the end of 2002 or
It's
the
in
end of
December.
2001?
That I'm not sure of.
Just to the best of your memory, you have to share what you know.
Anyway, to the best of my memory, this was a trip to raise funds to organize our health network in Asia, which was
2000.
basically designed to deal with AIDS, but also I was heavily involved in the reconstruction of India after the earthquake there.
Yes, so the tsunami
And
was December
Was asked to do it by the
2004.
Prime Minister and
It wasn't even
then
close
later
to
by
the
UN,
flight.
so I was involved with that.
And do you have
John
any
Lou
recollection
Brunel,
of
that's
who
right,
these
Deuce
individuals
Doo.
on the flight were? For example, there are a few female names. I think one is Janice, one is Jessica. When you look at the log, do you have any recollection of who's who?
No. She may have been a flight attendant, I don't know.
Do you have any recollection of the flights themselves?
Of this
Not the
particular
flights
flight?
themselves.
This group of flights.
I remember we made several stops and you mentioned them. And we're going there, but that's all I remember.
To the best of your recollection, whether with respect to the flights or the trip itself, did you ever witness or become aware of sexual abuse of any kind?
No.
We then have logs showing 2 flights in July of 2002, and I will introduce those as Minority Exhibit G.
More
Give you a
exhibitees.
moment to receive those.
Clinton's going, oh my God, these are
What was the
exhibitees.
prior
They're
one?
not good.
The prior one would have been F.
And that was the May 2002 flight log.
Where's F?
No, I put F on that, but I thought that was, sorry, so you're,
No problem. It should be May 2002. I have as F as in Frank.
okay, I'm not sure what this
So
one was.
the
Okay,
tsunami wasn't even
gonna
close
get
to when
the
what
labels
they're
later.
trying to
Okay.
nail down
Sorry
in
about that.
2002.
So this one will be G
Hey,
in
Tennessee,
July
good to
of
see you.
2002, specifically on July 13th.
Oh, sorry. Next one, Mr. President. I'll give that one to David.
I'll give you a moment.
Wait, does this say where we're going?
Yeah, it's on the 13th, and these flights are from Morocco to Portugal, and then Portugal to JFK. And our understanding, just from public reporting, is that this may have been part of a trip to Morocco to attend the King of Morocco's wedding.
And you're asking him about the legs that he's
And
on.
this
Correct,
was-
exactly.
This was July of
Is that when his
2022.
wedding was?
Sorry?
Is that when he got married?
It may have been. I think that's my
July.
question for you, is whether you recall that this trip.
Well, I recall going to his wedding.
Okay. Do you recall approximately when that wedding would have been?
No, but it was a long time ago. I don't know if this was it. But I did go to Morocco more than once.
Do you recall attending the King of Morocco's wedding?
Absolutely, I did.
Do you recall whether Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell also attended that wedding?
I don't. I remember, I think Chelsea went with me. And I remember because my late mother-in-law loved Morocco and Chelsea was there with her once and she wanted to go. So we went and it was really nice. I was very close to the king's father. And I marched in his funeral when he died. And so they had this wedding and we were invited and I very much wanted to go. Hillary was working and didn't go. Chelsea did, and I think Homer was with us too. I think,
There's been some reporting that you may have invited Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell to the King's wedding. It sounds like, but please you tell me, do you have any specific recollection of that?
I don't remember.
Do you have any specific recollection of these 2 flights, which may or may not have been part of the King's wedding? They're from Morocco to Portugal and Portugal to JFK. Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell were on the flights as well as yourself.
When I was coming home,
He's just asking you about these 2 legs and he's asking you, do you have any recollection of these 2 legs of the flight?
no, I did. I remember the wedding very well and all the stuff that happened, but that's all. I don't remember the coming or the going.
Thank you. In September of that year, we have the trip that I think a lot of folks are aware of. This is a trip to Africa in September of 2002. The trip started at JFK, ended in London, stopped in Ghana, Nigeria, Rwanda, Mozambique, and South Africa. Some high-profile figures were on board, including actor Kevin Spacey and comedian Chris Tucker, as well as Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell. I will introduce those flight logs as Minority Exhibit H. I'll give you a moment to receive them.
Thank you. H. Thank you very much. H.
So this is a two-sided document, and the flights are the bottom half of the first page and one flight at the top of the second page.
Starting at the 21st?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay,
Starting there.
I'll just ask you generally before we look at the log specifically. What is your recollection of how this trip to Africa came about?
well, this is where most of our work was going to be done. And what month is this?
This is, I believe, September of 2002.
So, and the countries we were going to represent places where we had operations. Like Mozambique, for example, had a big AIDS problem and we were trying to help. And there was, so that's what I know. When we, in South Africa, we spent quite a bit of time because I wanted to go see Mandela. He was still in good shape then. And we did things together. And then Charlene Hunter-Galt, who was one of the Black women that integrated the University of Georgia and became then a very well-known international television commentator for PBS. And her husband, Ron, had moved down to South Africa. And they were longtime friends of mine. We had celebrated the 150th birthday of Arkansas together in Little Rock. We were longtime friends. And so we went to visit them, and she threw a big cookout for us. And it was a funny time. Chris Tucker and Kevin Spacey imitated me.
So a lot of these names on the logs are hard to make out. Do you have any specific recollection of who was on board those flights?
He's not asking you to review and try and see if you can read their names. He's asking you what your
No.
recollection is.
It says Shante Davis was, and she worked for Jeffrey.
And I think it was discussed in the previous round, but that well-known photograph of yourself and Miss Davies, what is your recollection of the extent of your interactions with Miss Davies on that trip
Where were we?
in Africa?
No, where was the photograph?
I think it was at the airport
Oh,
on the way to.
that's it. I mean, we had a good relationship, but it was entirely proper. I never had any personal contact with her, if that's what you imply.
And am I right that while on that trip, whether the trip or the flights, did you ever witness or become aware of sexual abuse of any kind?
I did not.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. We have a series.
Or the flight.
Contact with her, if that's what you imply.
Watch the muscles in his jaw when he says, "I did not."
And am I right that while on that trip, whether the trip or the flights, did you ever witness or become aware of sexual abuse of any kind?
I did not.
Thank you.
Thank you,
You
Mr.
see
President.
that?
Thank you. We have a series of questions from some of the members in the minority. And so I'll be calling them up as we go through. And thank you. Just want to also again thank you for being here and answering all the questions. We
He's
appreciate all of
very
your service.
disturbed.
Just two clarifying questions. One that was asked during the Republican hour, and I just want to have you reiterate it for the record. Either during or after your presidency, were you ever made aware of Jeffrey Epstein having any kind of relationship, directly or indirectly, with a foreign intelligence agency or service? And I ask because we've received a lot of interest and communication about that topic. And so I want to give you a chance to answer that again if there's any.
No, I wasn't, and I understood why now when you showed me the passport, but I wasn't. I didn't know anything about that.
Thank you. And then second, of course, this deposition also sets a pretty new precedent, I think, which is something that we've been discussed and folks in across the country are discussing as well. So we're thankful that you're here. We believe in the minority that President Trump should also answer this committee's questions. He's someone that is mentioned almost more than any other person beside Ghislaine Maxwell in the Epstein documents. And so to get more information for this investigation, was wondering if you also agree that President Trump should answer questions of this committee.
That's for you to decide, but he did know him well, and I once had a brief discussion with him about it.
Thank you. Thanks for the answer. With that, I'm going to go to Mr. Walkinshaw, and we'll go down a series of questions.
Oh, I hate this, but because I don't believe I should inject anything. But I do not want to leave the impression, but since there was no follow-up question, the president never, this is 20-something years ago, never said anything to me to make me think he was involved in anything improper with regard to Epstein either. He just didn't. He just said we were friends. And then we had a falling out over a land deal, property deal. That's all.
Thank you.
Could I ask very briefly, Mr. President,
Sure.
if you recall, what were the circumstances of that conversation? Or at least let's start with, when did the conversation occur?
It was on his golf course. And there were a couple of years there when Joe Torre, who had been the manager of the Yankees and was a friend, and had a tournament, a charity golf tournament, called appropriately for this investigation, the Safe at Home Foundation. And it was designed to combat domestic violence, of which Joe Torre had been a victim as a child. And so I wanted to support it. And so Donald Trump gave him the golf course in New York to have a tournament on, and I played in it a couple of times. And the day I was there, he would typically, Donald Trump would come out and play a few holes with us. And he somehow knew I had flown in Jeffrey Epstein's aircraft, and he said, you know, we had some great times together over the years, but we fell out, all because of a real estate deal. And he said, I'm sorry it happened. That's all.
Do you recall whether President Trump was the first one to affirmatively bring up the subject of Jeffrey Epstein?
No, but I'd be shocked if I did. I just don't do that.
Do you recall whether President Trump elaborated at all on the great times that he had with Jeffrey Epstein?
No, and at the time, I didn't put any, sexual spin on it.
And as far as you recall, President Trump characterized the nature of the ending of their friendship as being solely due to the real estate.
That's what he said.
Thank you.
But I didn't think much about it at the time. And, it was 2 minutes and then we were gone.
As far as you recall, have you had any other conversations with President Trump related to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
And your best recollection, if you have one, of the year that this conversation occurred?
Maybe 2002 or 2003.
Thank you.
But
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon. I just want to focus again on Ghislaine Maxwell. First, I'll ask you just to reiterate, did you ever at any point during your interactions with Ms. Maxwell know about the sexual abuse she committed and facilitated against minors and women?
No.
When did you learn that she had engaged in crimes against girls and young women?
When the first evidence came out, when was it, in 2019?
Okay. And have you ever engaged in sexual activity with a person introduced to you by Ghislaine Maxwell?
No.
You're aware that she was convicted of crimes, as we discussed, and you're aware that she's currently incarcerated as a result of her federal conviction.
Yes.
Maxwell received a 20-year sentence for her crimes. Are you aware that she has repeatedly called on President Trump to grant her clemency, and that she has said that you and President Trump are not guilty of any wrongdoing with respect to Epstein?
I know that now, yes.
In your opinion, does she deserve or should she be granted clemency by President Trump?
I don't think I should comment on that.
That was
I
a good
don't know
decision.
anything about President Trump other than what I've already told you. And I thought it was a mistake to pardon everybody in the January 6th case. And I think that this thing was really hard for me when it came out because we had been friendly with Ghislaine. I was sad, but it was terrible what she did, and she has to be punished. Somebody besides me should make a decision on what it is. So she got 20 years, and there it is.
Okay. Mr. President, on July 24th, 2025, the Deputy Attorney General and President Trump's former personal attorney, Todd Blanche, conducted a closed-door interview of Ms. Maxwell at her then low-security prison. On August 1st, 2025, just a few days after that interview, she was transferred to a lower security prison where she's afforded a list of amenities, personalized meals, playtime with puppies, a transfer that I think most Americans agree is inconsistent with a very serious crime she was convicted of. Do you have any opinion on her transfer to that lower security prison and the amenities she's been granted? Did it seem strange to you when you learned of that?
I think you're in a better position to find out what happened than I am.
Okay. When you were president of the United States, was it common for your Deputy Attorney General to directly conduct interviews of witnesses and or federal inmates?
Was it? You were there.
You have to testify what you know,
He's
what
asking-
you recall.
Yes, he's
You
asking,
recall if it
did you
was.
ever send a deputy attorney general to?
To the best of my knowledge, I did not do that.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President.
May I ask a question? So Representative Foster, you're still the youngest person in Congress.
Yes, I am, Mr. President.
Lucky you.
Hopefully that changes soon. If you're the youngest for too long, it's not good.
Come a time, believe me. I was, for most of my life, the youngest person doing whatever I was doing. And one day I woke up, I was the oldest man in every room. And I couldn't tell you for the life of me how I got from one place to the other. Time will take care of it. Enjoy it while it lasts.
Thank you,
And,
thank you.
and
It's
that
a blessing
is
to be the
the
oldest person
famous
in the room
Bill
as well.
Clinton.
Mr. President, I just wanted to circle back to the conversation around the conversation you had with Jeffrey Epstein on the golf, or with Donald Trump
Mhm.
on the golf course in New
Yeah,
York.
that's right,
You
Tennessee.
know, President Trump has said publicly
Distracting,
multiple
right?
times that his
Using-
falling out
using
with
his
Jeffrey
charm
Epstein
and charisma.
was
Yep.
the result of him hiring away workers from Mar-a-Lago and his crimes. He said that's why he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. You brought up two questions about this. Did President Trump specifically characterize the result of this land dispute they had as a falling out specifically, to the best?
Yeah, he said they both wanted the same piece of land.
Mhm.
He didn't say what it was, and that's all I remember.
And he said it was a falling out as a result of that.
Yeah, said it strained their relationship.
Do you know when this conversation happened?
when the conversation I had with him happened.
Hmm.
Well, it had to be in 2002 or 2003, I think.
2002, 2003. All right, thank you. During any of your interactions with Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, did either of them ever mention or discuss their relationships or connections with Howard Lutnick?
No,
What about their relationship or connection with Alex Acosta?
no,
Prior to Jeffrey Epstein's arrest in 2019, did anyone ever speak with you about Epstein's relationship with Howard Lutnick?
no,
And what about Alex Acosta?
no.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning.
I'm Melanie Stansbury. I represent New Mexico's 1st Congressional District, and it's an honor to have you and your council here. This is a very important investigation, and we obviously have a lot of questions. And for me personally, this case is all about justice for the victims. And I really appreciated in your opening statements, your statement about nobody being above the law, including a president. And I think it's important that we are setting the precedent for Congress establishing oversight and subpoena power over a president. And I believe Donald Trump should and will ultimately be in front of this body. And I also appreciate what you said about women and girls who were abused by Jeffrey Epstein deserving justice and healing. And that's where I'd like to focus my questions. And in particular, I want to focus on 3 survivors who have shared stories that involve you. So I want to begin with Maria Farmer. Do you know who Maria Farmer is? Maria Farmer was employed by Jeffrey Epstein and abused by him for a number of years. And she first reported her abuse to the New York PD and FBI in 1996. And she states that she has personal knowledge that you visited Jeffrey Epstein's house 3 to 4 times while you were the sitting president between 1995 and 1996. And she says she knows this based on photographs that Ghislaine Maxwell showed to her, as well as discussions with the staff. So let me ask you, Mr. President, did you visit Jeffrey Epstein's house while you were president?
I do not remember doing that. I do not believe I did.
How do you explain this discrepancy?
Objection calls for him to speculate.
I can't speculate. But all I can tell you is I don't remember being there.
Okay. Moving on to Virginia Roberts Giuffre. Are you familiar with her? As has already been established, she has stated in numerous sworn statements, including a sworn deposition in the Maxwell trial, that she saw you on the island with Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, this morning, her family shared her diary with me. And in it is a quote wherein she writes, quote, Bill Clinton met 2 times island with 2 girls, CTGM and JE. What is your reaction to that?
It's not true.
Do you have any dates associated with that? Were there dates on the diary? with
I
respect
don't have that information, but we'll be happy to share it with you.
to- Terrific, because I think there are also records that would reflect where else he would have been. So thanks.
Did she say that in her book?
This is from her personal diary that her family shared with us.
When she was a
The
child,
book came out
Bill.
more recently. Did she say that in the book?
I'm just reading you the entry from her diary that her family shared with me.
Let's not slander her, okay, Bill? That would be a bad move on your part. She knew a lot about you. It has been proven that she did not lie about Prince Andrew. You were hobnobbing around with the Rothschild and Prince Andrew in like the early 70s in England. So that woman was targeted and brutalized when she died. You know what you are. You know what you did.
I think she ultimately reached a different conclusion, although I had no contact with her.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure that it's on the record that that is Virginia Dufresne's statement. Did you ever fly in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell?
Ever, anywhere? I have no idea.
Okay, well, at least one of the survivors claims that you flew in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell to them.
Now, look, you guys, I want to point something out, and let's just talk about, likelihood. Like, there's no way to know for sure, but we can use our common sense, right? She's saying, did you ever fly in a helicopter with Ghislaine Maxwell? And it is true that Ghislaine Maxwell did, in fact, get a license to be able to fly a helicopter. And Epstein bought helicopters for her to fly. And she was flying people on and off the island for Epstein. So that's not a weird kind of question. But here's what I would say. If you were going to visit friends who had an island, you'd think that, well, the normal way to get to the island would be by boat, right? Except your friend shows up to drive you in a helicopter. Don't you think that would be something interesting, unique, novel, and you'd be probably laughing and you'd be like, yeah, this is fun. You'd probably remember that. Would you agree or disagree? It's just strange enough that it would probably stand out in your mind, right? My buddy, my good old buddy pal, Ghislaine, can fly a helicopter. Isn't this cool? Right? Now, he quickly says, oh, no, I don't remember that. I don't know what you're talking about. No, I have no memory of that. No, not at all. But he can remember an obscure comment made by Donald Trump while they were playing a couple of rounds of golf at a charity golf event, where he says, hey, I had a falling out with my old friend over a bad business deal. What? That is kind of crazy, isn't it? You've got such a great memory that you can recall just golf course banter about something as boring as a business deal, but you don't remember a helicopter ride on an island? That is very strange, Bill Clinton. And you could line up a room full of clinical psychologists and neurologists that would talk about why, according to memory structure, why that's actually highly improbable. So, he's smooth, he's charismatic, he's got the old homeboy, charm. But make no mistake about it, this man, his history, there's a lot of dead friends. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, Virginia Dufresne is one of those bodies that she came out and said, I am not suicidal. I am not depressed. I'm okay. If anything happens to me, this is who did it. And she literally got run over by a bus. Literally. So it's even though he comes across as very likable and attractive and all that, I don't mean physically attractive, but personality, he's very engaging. There are some very curious accidents around the people that were in his inner circle. A lot of them.
The island.
Did you ever?
Then I did not do that. I've never been to that island.
Okay. The third person I want to talk about briefly is Shantae Davies. I know we've already mentioned her here today. I know you've already mentioned that she was listed as a flight attendant on the trip to South Africa in 2002 that you took with Jeffrey Epstein. Are you aware that Shantae Davies is a survivor who claims she was abused for 3 years, including
Yeah.
during that time period.
I am now.
And are you aware that Jeffrey Epstein recruited his victims through calling them masseuses?
No,
You're not aware that
but
Jeffrey,
it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I didn't know that, no.
You got your massages, though,
knowing
didn't
that
you?
Jeffrey Epstein recruited hundreds of minors as masseuses to massage him, and knowing that this victim, who was a survivor 3 years of his sexual abuse as a masseuse, was on the plane, does that make you think about the massage you received from her differently?
Can I just interrupt? You're saying knowing, you know that. He was saying that he was unaware that that's how Mr. Epstein was recruiting his individuals.
I'm asking if today, hearing
Have you
this,
seen the picture?
I have a copy of it right here.
See, that's the thing about this sucker. He's clarifying which picture. Where was I? Because he knows, he thinks, let me be careful. He thinks he knows how they have timed all of this, put it on a timeline, how they're putting different people in different places. He's only going to admit to what there are receipts for, correct? I mean, we see that kind of crap all the time on YouTube. But here's the problem, or the good thing. Remember how many people have been complaining that the Department of Justice, Pam Bondi, she's protecting Donald Trump. She's not releasing this 3 million pages that still haven't been released. You know all that? I would say, what if they're not being released because they're exhibitees in an upcoming trial? What if they haven't been released because they're actually being used in an active investigation or 10? So the fact that Clinton keeps going to, oh, which picture? Have you seen that picture? Where was I at? Was I in an airplane? Was I at the airport? Was I in the living room of somebody's house? He's trying to keep it straight in his head. What evidence that could catch him in a lie? Now, he's already been caught in multiple lies, but put that aside. He may find himself in a lot of trouble here, that there's so much that has not been released. They may be just getting ready to prosecute by catching him in lies that they can use then during a trial to discredit him, right? But I wanted to try to look at his mask slipping.
You're not aware that
But
Jeffrey,
it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I didn't know that, no.
aware that Jeffrey Epstein recruited his victims through calling them masseuses?
No,
You're not aware that
but
Jeffrey,
it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I didn't know that, no.
knowing that Jeffrey Epstein recruited hundreds of minors as masseuses to massage him, and knowing that this victim, who was a survivor 3 years of his sexual abuse as a masseuse, was on the plane, does that make you think about the massage you received from her differently?
Can I just interrupt? You're saying
Boy, when Cheryl gets activated, she's defending the guy sitting next to her. So she didn't like that question. She wasn't even going to let Clinton answer. What?
Think about the massage you received from her differently.
Can I just interrupt? You're saying knowing, you know that. He was saying that he was unaware.
See, she's coaching him without actually talking directly to him. You see him listening to her. He's listening to her. He's gonna repeat whatever she says.
That's how Mr. Epstein was recruiting his individuals.
I'm asking if today, hearing
Have you
this,
seen the picture?
I have a copy of it right here. Yes.
Well, I'm sitting up in the,
I'm just asking if now that you know that Jeffrey Epstein recruited girls as masseuses, does that reframe that photograph, and knowing that there were girls on the plane that were being abused?
Objection. It states facts not in the record. You can ask this witness what he thinks or remembers about anything that happened. but I don't think it's right to ask him to speculate.
She wants to know if I feel bad about it. Yes.
I'm not, I think
Don't you?
what I'm trying to get at is that there is a culture that surrounded Jeffrey Epstein in which rich and powerful people saw young women that were survivors who were being abused and didn't say anything and didn't do anything.
So
And
is your
part of-
question,
See, Cheryl's going, okay, I don't like this. We're in trouble here, Bill. This is not good. Watch her hand on her throat. She feels the pressure. She doesn't like this at all. Watch her.
in which rich and powerful people saw young women that were survivors who were being abused and didn't say anything and didn't do anything.
She said, oh, shoot. Oh, gosh. Wait, just don't say anything. These questions that are being asked, I think they're going to prosecute this guy.
is your
part
question?
Of what I'm, hold on. Part of what I'm trying to do is to ask you, we know there was a survivor that was on the plane. You've stated that you didn't know she was a survivor. I understand that. But I'm asking now that you are aware that Epstein was recruiting survivors as masseuses, does this make you rethink what you saw as you were traveling and interacting with him?
So he has already spoken to, wait a minute. I want to make sure that you,
Clinton is going, I'm the president, damn it. I want to answer, right? And she is trying to get him to shut up.
you are clearly answering her question. He's already stated what he saw and what he knew. And so what you're now asking him is, given what you've now shared with him, does he think any differently about what he
Yes.
saw and what he knew? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her,
Mhm.
but I didn't think.
It is, look, it's not funny. It is not funny. Watch Cheryl. Watch her reaction when Bill Clinton says, I really liked Shantae. Watch Cheryl's, she is freaking out. Watch her reaction. That is golden.
Now shared with him, does he think any differently about what he
Yes.
saw and
Watch
what he
her.
knew? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her,
Mhm.
but I didn't think it was.
Look, you know how we have on YouTube, you know how we have all these people that do the body analyzing, right? And they'll always say you can tell when someone's lying because of how they hold their lips really tight, or they lip their lips, or they put their hand over their mouth, right? She is physically like holding her lips together as hard as she can, not because she's lying, because she wants Bill Clinton to shut up. Look at her reaction to what he says. And he thinks he's just being Bill. He's just schmoozing, using his charisma and charm, and he's going to talk his way out of this. And watching this master lawyer react, it's anything but working. Like, she's sitting there going, oh my God, he's hanging himself. Oh my God, please don't say that. Watch her like close her lips really hard, like, be quiet, Bill. And then when he says, oh, I really like Shantae, I really like that girl, she does everything but just go, okay, you just screwed yourself. It's fascinating to watch her.
What he saw and what he knew. And so what you're now asking him is, given what you've now shared with him, does he think any differently about what he saw and what he knew? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked.
Look how tight she's holding her lips. She's like, Bill, please, please. And he's just like, oh, shucks, y'all. I sure did like that old Shantae gal. And watch Cheryl's reaction when he says that he liked this girl. Watch her reaction. That is epic.
Liked her,
Mhm.
but I didn't think it was anything unusual.
I
can't
mean,
tell you how.
she collapsed, right? What do y'all think? The minions protect their masters. It's too bad we didn't have a camera. Body language people are going to love this. I mean, you can just, she just deflates, right? She's so hopeful that he's going to quit talking. She's got her lips tight together. She's like, please don't talk, Bill. Please don't talk. He's coming up with his cute little, oh, I'm so charming little answer, right? And when he says, I really liked her, Cheryl she just like deflates. That is a major clip right there. I got to watch it one more time. That's amazing.
You're now asking him is, given what you've now shared with him, does he think any differently about what he saw and what he knew? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her.
Mhm.
Jump. God. I'm so sorry, Cheryl. You have an idiot for a client. I'm so sorry.
I didn't think it was anything unusual. I can't tell you how many airplanes I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering a massage.
You don't. What did he say? I can't tell you how many airplanes with rich people I've been on that have someone on there offering massages. Is that what he said?
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her.
Mhm.
But I didn't think it was anything unusual. I can't tell you how many airplanes I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering a massage. You know, all these boats that you go on.
And again, Cheryl has an attack. Good Lord. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can't believe. Bill, you think rich people just like offer out massages by underage girls the same way a stewardess offers a Coke? She does. She totally deflates. It's wild to watch. Yeah, so it's so common, Michelle. Can't remit you. Oh, just can't tell you how many times. But Shantae, he remembers her name, what she looks like, that she gave a great massage. Oh man, yeah. I feel bad for Cheryl Mills. I honestly feel bad for her. Don't take your eyes off of her. Watch how she reacts to this whole thing. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her.
Mhm.
She says,
But
oh,
I didn't think it was
shit,
anything
Bill.
unusual. I can't tell you how
Now
many
watch
airplanes
this.
I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering a massage. You know, all these boats. that you go on
Double
there, they
shit.
all do that. And usually I don't do that. I'm not into this.
She's sitting there. She's going, he's an idiot. I'm sorry, but Hillary, your husband's an idiot. That is what she's thinking right now. Right now, she's thinking, I am never representing this man again. Never. I will represent Hillary all day long. This is the last time I sit beside this joker. This is unbelievable. And look at him. He's just like, golly, shucks. It ain't nothing to it. It's just a bunch of good old boys, rich people getting massages. It's perfectly natural and normal to get a massage as an old man by an underage, very beautiful girl. That's so normal. Bill, man. That's crazy.
Well, that certainly raises some other questions about people
Yes,
offering.
that does raise some other questions, and that is what Cheryl Mills is so upset about right now, because now she's going, well, here we go. We're on the roller coaster.
Free massages on boats, etc. But I do want to enter a couple of exhibits into the record.
And here we go with Ms. Mills. Keep your eye on Cheryl Mills as she responds to this commentary by the good senator. Watch her.
And usually I don't do that. I'm not into this.
Well, that certainly raises some other questions about people offering free massages.
She's shaking her head no. Okay, I'm looking at the chat. I'm looking at the side chat. Can you guys believe this? This is this is internet gold. He is thinking that he is back in the saddle again, Vicky Carpenter. They are putty in his hands. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, Cheryl Mills is going, I'll never be able to keep this guy out of jail. I'll never keep him out of jail. They're going to prosecute him just because of this one teeny little exchange about all the massages. But he doesn't do that. You heard that part, right? I was so busy focusing on Cheryl Mills. Listen to how he says, listen to the whole exchange again, her reaction, but then he goes, but I don't get the massages. So he catches that he screwed up. And Cheryl Mills is up there shaking her head like, he's an idiot. He is an idiot. Wow, this is amazing.
Given what you've now shared with him, does he think any differently about what he saw and what he knew? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I wish Shantae had told me I liked her.
Mhm.
But I didn't think it was anything unusual. I can't tell you how many airplanes I've been on where rich people asked me to go and they had someone offering massage. All these boats that you go on, all that, they all do that. And usually I don't do that. I'm not into this.
Usually I don't do that. I'm not into what, Bill? You're not into what? What? Because there's pictures of you getting massages from underage girls on an airplane. You're not into what exactly? Look at him. He looks. I'm so sorry, Cheryl Mills.
Well, that certainly raises some other questions about people offering free massages on boats, etc. But I do want to enter a couple of exhibits into the record, and I know council is prepared to pass them out. And while that is occurring, we're going to introduce this exhibit.
And the mask is gone. Look at those eyes. That look like a man that might kill you if you had a secret. Damn, if I was that senator, I would have a personal security guard. Look at the hate on his face right there. There's your mask slipping right there. That's the real Bill right there. I don't know what you're mad about, Bill. You're the one that said it. Wow. Oh, yeah. Team Doocy Doo. Cheryl Mills has been a constant by their grimy little sides since Arkansas. You bet she knows. Absolutely. She knows. Yeah. But look at that face, would you? Does that look like a nice man? That is not a nice man. That is an apex predator right there. That's a dangerous man. And again, what's he mad about? He's the one running his damn mouth. His attorney is doing everything she can to make him shut up.
What is it? Exhibit
Boy, look at that. Look at that face. Man.
I, it'll be Minority Exhibit I, which is a FBI PowerPoint that was included in the files that were released as part of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. And then I would like to introduce this exhibit, which is Exhibit J, which is a internal correspondence emails between the FBI. And though I'm short on time, what I'll describe in both these exhibits is that your name appears in FBI.
You know what, y'all? I'm actually in disbelief. He's caught. That was incredible to watch. that was really, that whole exchange from the gosh golly gee, oh, it's just rich people get massages, all the way to the look of, I'm going to kill you. That is incredible. That is incredible.
Tip sheets as having attended parties in Jeffrey Epstein's presence in which sexual activities were occurring. Did you ever attend a party of any kind or an event with Jeffrey Epstein in which sexual activities were occurring? Okay.
Oh, but you did get those massages, Billy boy. And there are Secret Service members who have done depositions where they guarded the car while he had sex with staffers. There was that going on in Arkansas. It's unbelievable. Okay, I'm speechless now.
Finally, there will be many millions of people that watch this deposition. What would you like to say to the survivors directly?
Good question.
I hope this will produce a sense of finality. And I don't think that'll happen till the government starts holding on to all the records. I think that, the record should be released.
But Bill, you're an attorney. Why would why would the government release millions of documents, but then interestingly, there's some very specific documents that have not yet been released? Why would they do that, Bill? You're not stupid. Why would they be doing that? Cheryl Mills knows why. And you just sunk your battleship, buddy.
And then I think that we need to come up with strategies to help people who can't get over this get better. And the most important thing we do, I think, besides treat the victims right, is increase the guardrails that will set off alarm systems and stop other people from doing the same thing Epstein did.
Stop them from doing the same thing I've done. Don't you want to edit that? The same things I did. You can start by helping the victims heal by making a true and honest apology, Bill.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you.
We had an additional member join us in the interim. Could that member just identify themselves?
Absolutely. Hello, Mr. President. My name is Nick Lancaster. I represent New York's 23rd Congressional District, Buffalo suburbs, rural southern tier. Thank you for being here today.
Just for the record, the time check.
We've got about 5 minutes left in this round.
Thank you so much.
I think it's fine. Congressman, how are you?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being here and for your time today. And thank you for your service. We have, as you know, in the files that were released, there were several photos, included you, and we have an exhibit here. That's just one of the photos. And Exhibit K, Minority Exhibit K.
Yep.
And we'll have that passed around. And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here.
Oh.
Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell, but
And the
anyway, we got
masseuse.
to the end of the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one. And the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters is basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And then he was very proud of that. And he hosted, his time came to host it. You know, you do these things in a rotation. And it came either at the very end of my term or maybe the next year. Anyway, he wanted, when he knew I was coming, he said he wanted to help me with my AIDS initiative, and he invited me to stay there. And he said, I want you to stay at this hotel, and I hope you'll use the pool. So I did. And then I got out and went to bed exhausted.
Just for the record, there's another picture that also shows this as part of the larger pool area. Do you all have that so that he can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
We should have it. It's quite enlightening if you watch this.
Look at
Yes,
her.
it's noted.
He's looking at him like, can you shut up? Look at the way she looks at him.
He can refresh his recollection with respect to that?
We should have it. It's quite enlightening if you watch this.
Look at her. She's like, dude, man, I am trying to help you.
Yes, it's noted.
It'll
Yes.
give you a different feel.
Thank you.
Okay.
We don't have it with us right now.
Okay,
We do.
thanks. I just wanted to make sure he knew the
And so were there other people in that pool or hot tub with you as well?
I don't think there's anybody in the hot tub. I didn't forgotten. that
Yeah,
they did.
there was, Bill. There's a woman in the pool, a very young woman in the pool with you two old men.
In the hot tub, but it was big, but it was about.
Well,
He's asking you in the pool
it appears
area.
this photo, there's a girl over here, or there's someone.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But he's also asking in the pool area were there other
Yes,
individuals?
I don't know who that is.
Okay, so you don't know.
Okay, so you want everybody, the entire world, to believe that the president of the United States of America is paddling around in the pool with an unknown young woman with no Secret Service around, right? Good God.
No, and then there were other people in the pool.
Okay, so do you remember were they under 18? Would you
No.
know? No.
Were they part of your traveling party? He's asking you.
Yes, they were, I think. I think everybody there was part of our party. It was late at night or late-ish. And
Didn't he just say, oh, I don't know who that girl is? I don't know who that girl is. I don't know. Now he's going, oh, yeah, that was our travel group. That was all my buddies. Golly, this was very bad for you, Bill.
I also believe that there was a Secret Service agent there at the other end of the pool.
Okay, and was this in public?
No, it was a hotel room, and the Sultan wanted us to stay there, and the water of this big pool was on the same floor that there were several suites, so we went out, I swam around, I sat in the hot tub for 5 minutes, or whatever it was, and I got up and went to bed.
And then I have to ask this, did you engage in any sexual activity
No.
with this person? Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that ends this round, and we can go off the record.
Man alive.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Ready to go?
Yep, we'll start with her.
Wonderful. Hello, Mr. President. How are you?
Fine.
Good. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Being hoarse.
Oh, you're fine, Mr. President. Mr. President, I want to make my questions as quick and as painless as possible so we can move on with the day and hopefully not keep you here for too long. First question I have for you, Mr. President. Have you ever lied in a deposition?
No.
Have you ever lied while under oath?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Thank you.
I did not have
Were
sex
you
with that woman.
personally aware that Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times during your presidency?
At the time it happened?
Yes.
No, at the time it happened, I was not.
Do you know, so Jeffrey Epstein never asked to meet with you personally in the White House while you were president during those 17 visits?
Not to my knowledge.
Would you know who he was meeting with?
No.
Okay,
I
well,
didn't know he was coming.
is that standard protocol for the president to not know of someone who is attending, visiting the White House 17 times
So wait, excuse me, just to be clear,
while you were
the
president?
White House office, which has 1,600 employees, you're speaking of the White House office? Yeah.
Yes.
No, I think that most presidents don't have a clue who's coming in every day unless it's somebody of personal interest to the president.
Yes, and you did have a familiar relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, correct?
No, I wasn't aware I'd ever met him when I was president.
While you were president. We are trying to establish if Jeffrey Epstein was a foreign or potentially even a domestic asset of some kind. Do you have any reason to believe that he was trying to seek access to classified materials, intelligence reports, or sensitive government information?
No, I knew nothing about this story until it came up. I was glad to see that picture of the
Yes, and
phony
Mr. President,
passport.
sorry to interrupt you. Mr. President, since knowing Jeffrey Epstein and knowing that he had visited the White House, were there any conversations from your associates, any White House staff, or anyone familiar with the meetings that said he was seeking detailed information about government relationships?
Does that question relate to back in the day or now? What's the time of the question?
I'm asking, since you have been aware, any time since after you were aware that Jeffrey Epstein visited the White House 17 times, has there been any conversations with anyone that you are aware of that Jeffrey Epstein was seeking sensitive government information?
She's asking to the best of your recollection.
To the best of my knowledge, no.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And moving on, at any time while you were traveling on any aircraft owned, leased, or otherwise affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein, did you engage in sexual relations or sexual activities with anyone other than your wife?
No.
During any such flight, did you witness or have knowledge of any other individual engaging in sexual activities with any female passengers?
No.
In 2002, you participated in a 10-day multi-country trip to Africa while traveling on a Boeing 727 owned by Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. This trip was organized by Ghislaine Maxwell. Do you recall this trip, Mr. President?
Kevin Spacey.
I recall the trip, but I don't know that it was organized by Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes,
I
sir.
believe we were going places that I needed to go for my work in Africa.
Yes, sir. Internal FBI records describe the aircraft as having a section with couches adjacent to which a sliding glass door leading to another compartment. There was a bed. Are you familiar with the layout of this aircraft that you traveled on?
I'm familiar with the fact that there was a bench that turned into a bed at the end of the passenger seats.
And no other bed you are familiar with? Did you ever go into any part of the aircraft with a bed that you perhaps lied on or utilized?
I'm familiar with the bench.
Yes.
It turned into the bed.
Yes.
I do not believe I ever went into the back section.
And at any time while traveling on such aircraft, do you remember utilizing either the bench that I'll keep it as one option for now. Do you remember utilizing the bench as a bed? Was it laid out as a bed?
I remember.
I don't remember, but that doesn't mean I didn't. I'm familiar with the note.
Yes, sir. FBI internal records relay testimony from Dr. Greg Bledsoe, who participated on the 2002 Africa trip. Did Dr. Bledsoe describe multiple millionaires? Dr. Bledsoe does describe multiple millionaires and billionaires on the plane. Do you remember any of the names of those individuals, potentially even the actor Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, Kevin was on the plane.
Did Dr. Bledsoe also describe, he also describes multiple young women were present on the flights and that Maxwell appeared to be in a position over the girls on the plane and was directing the girls. Can you describe the purpose of these women participating in this multi-country trip?
They were the just, the common rich people masseuses. That's it. Nothing to see here. Just move along.
Question. You have no objection to you asking the president what he saw, observed, heard, but he can't possibly speak to what Maxwell was in her mind.
Did you witness, Mr. President, Ms. Maxwell appearing to be in the position over other girls on the plane and possibly directing the girls?
Well, I thought that she was Epstein's top aide and that she was basically in charge of what happened.
What did happen, Mr. President?
I don't know. I mean, I've already told you this. I'll tell again. I never saw anybody do anything wrong. I thought they were flight attendants.
Do flight attendants
Cheryl Mills' lips are pressed together again.
typically wear tank tops and jeans?
They don't all wear uniforms on private planes.
Yes, sir. Most are dressed probably pretty business class. But
So
moving
wait,
on.
His testimony was, with respect to private aircraft, people are not wearing uniforms.
Mhm. Correct. Dr. Bledsoe described at least one of the girls serving as a masseuse. At any point, did you or other male passengers receive a massage from this young woman or any other young women who are?
Kevin Spacey said the president did get a massage on that flight.
Described as a masseuse.
Well, I've seen one picture that shows that in a airport waiting area, one of the women was massaging my neck. That's all I've seen.
Have you received more than one massage from these trips with Mr. Epstein and the young girls that were present?
I don't recall them, but the problem I remember from that trip was that my neck had spasmed and I was in, and so they offered to help and I let them help. One left.
She asked whether or not you recalled any other massage.
No, I do
trips.
not.
Thank you. Mr. President, moving on to my next question. Submitted to the record, we have a painting that seems to be of you, Mr. President, found in one of Jeffrey Epstein's residences wearing a
the blue dress.
I would categorize it as a famous blue dress worn by the White House intern Monica Lewinsky. And I have this image here. This image is being passed around. If we need to go off the record while we do that, we can.
I can take a picture. Do you have a question?
It will be marked as Majority Exhibit 15. Proceed.
Thank you. So, Mr. President, we are looking at an image of a portrait that is looks to be you, Mr. President, in this blue dress. Can you describe this painting? And
he doesn't need to describe the painting. You just gave him a picture. What's your question?
My question is, are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person?
I've never seen it in person.
Do you know why
sure?
someone would paint this?
Are you asking him to
Objection.
speculate?
That's calls for speculation. You can ask the artist.
And if I had known Jeffrey Epstein had this painting, it would have saved me this whole day.
Did you ever introduce Epstein to Monica Lewinsky or any other young female White House staffers?
I did not.
Did Epstein ever request introductions to young female intern staffers of you? Did he request you to introduce them? And one regarding this exhibit 15, this portrait, to the right of this image, there appears to be a plain letterhead document that is framed in a gold frame. Are you familiar with?
That he's testified that he's not seen this picture?
The painting we asked, yes. And now I'm asking about the image next to it. So
are you asking whether or not he's familiar with what's in this small frame?
I'm the part that you have covered up.
This part?
I'm asking if he's familiar with this letterhead letter that was
letterhead that we can
Is this
see.
part of the painting?
No, sir. This is next to the painting and it's framed on the wall in the home of Jeffrey Epstein. I guess a better way to ask, other than the birthday note that was passed around here today for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, Mr. President, did you ever handwrite Jeffrey Epstein any other notes?
Well, I wouldn't remember, except that I've seen a picture recently of another note where I thank him for getting me away from the crowd on the airplane for a while so I could take a nap.
Yes. Okay, Mr. President, I just have two more questions for you and then I will let you go. And again, I'm so grateful for your time here today. We also have another exhibit from the committee, and it's page 49, I believe, and the, how do you want to classify this one?
They'll give it
It
to
will be marked as Majority Exhibit 16.
In this is a portion of Virginia Giuffre and her testimony. And in it, she is referencing you, Mr. President, and says he, Mr. Clinton, told me long ago that everyone owes him favors. They are all in each other's pockets. She's asked, I'm sorry, maybe that wasn't you that you was referencing, Clinton. I'll start over. He told me long ago that everyone owes him favors. I believe that's referring to Mr. Epstein. They're all in each other's pockets.
Sorry, could you show, what line are you starting at?
Yes, ma'am. I'm starting at the first line, and I do believe I incorrectly said that she was referencing Mr. Clinton. So to correct that.
She's not referencing,
Correct.
she's not referencing
Mr.
President Clinton. She's referencing instead who?
I believe this is Jeffrey Epstein that she is referencing here.
Thank you, Ms. Bober.
Thank you. And then she's asked, would you say you asked him why Bill Clinton was here? And Virginia responds, on the island, where he was here, on the island. And she goes on to say,
excuse me, can you clarify who JS is?
Can we look and see who JS is?
It says V and then it says JS. So
yes,
is this
I will get you that name.
But this is a conversation between two people, or is this a transcript of a deposition?
This is a transcript of a deposition, yes.
Thank you so much.
It says telecon at the top. Doesn't appear to be a deposition.
It says,
what do we have this as?
I'm not objecting.
No, that's fine. And we could go off the record if you want, just to get this.
I don't have this.
So this is, go ahead.
We'll go off the
I think
record.
This is a long dialogue between Mr. Jack Scarola and Virginia Giuffre, and I will summarize this. It is mentioned by Virginia that everyone owes him, presumably Jeffrey Epstein here, favors. Mr. President, were you ever in the position to owe Jeffrey Epstein a favor?
I didn't consider that. I thought we had an understanding about the airplanes, that he would let me use the airplane to set up my AIDS programs around the world if I'd agreed to talk to him for an hour about economics and politics on every long leg. I kept my word, and he seemed to honor his.
Were there any sensitive government topics ever discussed in those conversations? And also here,
just for the record, did the court reporter get his response? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll try not to talk over you. Wrapping up here. Virginia Giuffre is also asked in this document.
The same one you handed us?
Yes, ma'am.
So we should be looking at?
This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. JS is speaking. Were sexual orgies a regular occurrence on the island at Jeffrey's house? Yes. My question, Mr. President, were you ever aware or engaged in any of these sexual orgies?
Are these on the island where he's testified that he's
No,
not been
ma'am,
on the
I
island?
was never on the island.
Were you ever on any island in in the Virgin Islands
To travel for a trip with his wife, which is on the public record? I'm
with
sorry, what's
Jeffrey
your question?
Epstein?
No,
You were never in the Virgin Islands
in the Virgin Islands with
with
Jeffrey Epstein, no.
Okay, thank you. Mr. President, there's been new information that has come out regarding the autopsy of Mr. Epstein. I would just like to ask you personally and directly, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself?
Are you asking him to speculate on how Mr. Epstein died?
I'm asking what the president thinks of.
So you're asking his opinion?
Mr. President, was your friend Jeffrey Epstein
Are you
suicidal?
classifying him as a friend who he has testified that he was
has called
friendly?
him a friend in a letter.
He said he was friendly, but not, you've asked for his
Mr.
testimony. here.
President, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein was suicidal?
Do you know?
Was he ever
She's asking for the
suicidal?
best of your
I
understanding.
don't know. I only know what the medical finding was. I think maybe
If that's it.
he finally got caught, and I don't know. I've accepted it in my own mind. I don't know what happened,
Mr. President, what did you accept? That he killed himself or that he did not?
but he did, but I don't know.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
Neither do
Mr.
you.
President.
We don't, none of us know. We weren't there.
Mr. President, it's been an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. There. Oh, what did she say? Let's see.
Thank you.
Mr. President, in the previous hour, you discussed your relationship with Ms. Maxwell, and I have a few general follow-up questions. And I may make you repeat yourself, but I'll try hard to not ask you questions you've already answered. First, can you characterize your relationship with Ms. Maxwell after your presidency?
Well, I didn't, to the best of my memory, I didn't see her very much until I started flying on Mr. Epstein's airplane.
And for the record, would you at any time ever consider her to be a friend?
Oh, yes, I would.
What years would you consider her to be a friend?
I don't know, when she started going with Ted Waite, I saw her more frequently because I saw him more frequently. Then she was around CGI. So if you compare the time I spent with her to the time I spent with Mr. Epstein, I spent more time and I felt that we were better friends.
How did you typically communicate with Ms. Maxwell?
When she showed up at something that I was doing or vice versa, like.
So in person?
At CGI, yeah. I bet I never talked to her on the phone more than twice in my life.
And what were the nature of your communications with Ms. Maxwell?
What you recall?
I don't recall anything. I don't recall what they were, but she was always, I don't know. She was very interested in CGI. I remember that. And that's it.
And for the record, Mr. President, did you ever have any communications with Ms. Maxwell related to young women or girls?
No.
At this time, I'd like to introduce what will be marked as Majority Exhibit 17. And while it's being handed out, I will note for the record that this is the transcript from the two-day Ghislaine Maxwell interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, conducted by the Department of Justice on July 24th and 25th of 2025. And I will not be making you read the entire transcript. I will direct your attention when you've had a chance.
Okay.
Mr. President, have you seen this transcript prior to
Before?
Yes.
No.
I'd like to direct your attention to day 1, and we are looking specifically at the bottom of page 9.
Yep.
And
No, we need a copy down here.
Do we have a second copy and a third copy?
Give me 1 second.
Thank you so much.
we'll go off the record briefly. we will go back on the record.
Yep,
During Ms. Maxwell's interview, she stated that President Clinton was her friend, not Epstein's friend. Is that accurate?
I'd say that it was accurate to say that I felt closer to her than to him.
And for the record, why was that?
Because I had seen her more and because she was very good friends with Evelyn Rothschild and his wife Lynn, whom I knew and was in regular touch with.
And then this part's in there too.
And
Okay.
You're on page 1.
That's good.
Just want to make sure you're reading the right section.
She characterized your relationship with her as warmer.
Is that
yes,
your question?
Would you agree with that?
Warmer than with Jeffrey Epstein?
Correct.
oh yes, but it was not in any way sexual.
At this time, I'd like to direct your attention to day 2 of the transcript, and now we are looking at the bottom of page 12, and it is page
I see it.
258 and 259.
This is interesting.
Wait, pardon me. Sorry, I'm not with you. The bottom of page 12 says 42 to 45.
Of day 2.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
Okay,
Day 2, page 12,
Yes.
page 252.
257 to 260. Mr. President.
Okay,
258 and 259.
okay, got it.
Can you hold
No.
1 second? Can you wait?
She said, do not talk. You don't remember anything. Do you understand me? You don't know nothing.
258, 259,
Correct.
got it.
Are you asking us to read that?
Yes.
All of 258 and all of 259?
Correct.
Okay, is there part of this you want me to read?
No,
No.
he has a question. He wants to make sure you've read through here
Two
and you've
pages.
read through here.
Okay.
He's asking about these two. You read them? This and this. No, you don't have to read the other part yet. Ready?
Yes, got it.
Mr. President, you've had a chance to review the transcript. Here, Blanche asks Maxwell if she has ever visited your home in Chappaqua, to which Maxwell testifies that she had been invited to visit your home. For the record, did Ms. Maxwell ever visit your home in Chappaqua?
It wouldn't
Excuse me,
surprise-
counsel, the transcript says I went to the house. Does it say invited? Did I miss that?
Maxwell replies after Blanche asks,
Got it.
why
Sorry.
did you go to the house?
You're right.
Maxwell says, I was invited.
Got it.
I will repeat the question again. Did Ms. Maxwell ever visit your home in Chappaqua?
I don't recall, but it's quite possible she did. Hillary was a senator. In the beginning, she had a lot of events there. And we knew her.
During the same exchange, Ms. Maxwell implies that she may have been just driving past Chappaqua and stopped in if you were home. Did this ever occur?
If you don't.
Not that I remember, but I may not have been home.
But Mr. President, is it common for people to just stop by your
No.
house?
No.
No, he's the biggest president of the
For the
United
record,
States.
one or
No,
two people
people don't
do
just
that.
drop in.
So for the record, you're a former president. Does your security detail allow people to show up unannounced?
No,
Well, they'd allow them to, but they don't.
January 13th, 2026, letter from William J. Clinton and Secretary 8 Hillary R. Clinton to Chairman Comer encompassing attached declarations under the penalty of perjury of both President Clinton and Secretary Clinton. January 20th, 2026, letter from Ashley Cowan and David E. Kendall to Chairman Comer. January 31st, 2026, letter from Ashley Cowan and Catherine M. Turner to Chairman Comer. And February 2nd, 2026, letter from Chairman Comer to Ashley Cowan and Catherine M. Turner. The committee originally noticed the deposition for President Clinton on December 12th, 2025. I will mark that notice as Exhibit 3. I will mark as Exhibit 4 the notice dated December 16th, 2025 for a deposition of President Clinton to occur on January 13th, 2026. President Clinton did not appear for his deposition on January 13th, 2026. I will enter as Exhibit 5 the transcript for the deposition that President Clinton failed to appear for. The committee noticed a committee business meeting on January 14th, 2026 to consider the contempt report for President William J. Clinton held on January 21st, 2026. I will mark that notice as Exhibit 6. I will mark as Exhibit 7 the contempt report for President William J. Clinton voted favorably out of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform on January 21st, 2026. I will mark as Exhibit 8 the final roll call vote sheet favorably reporting the contempt report of President William J. Clinton out of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform on January 21st, 2026. The committee noticed today's deposition on February 19th, 2026. I will enter the notice for this deposition as Exhibit 9. I will enter as Exhibit 10 the email thread between Committee on Oversight and Government Reform staff and counsel for President Clinton and Secretary Clinton. The email thread confirms the date, time, and location, among other terms, of today's deposition. Additionally, this email thread clearly states the agreed upon terms, including but not limited to video recording, no predetermined time limit, and scope. The agreed upon scope from the email marked as Exhibit 10 is as follows. Pursuant to the committee's investigation into the alleged mismanagement of the federal government's investigation into Mr. Jeffrey Epstein and Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, the circumstances and subsequent investigations of Mr. Epstein's death, the operation of sex trafficking rings and ways for the federal government to effectively combat them, ways in which Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell sought to curry favor and exercise influence to protect their illegal activities, and potential violations of the ethics rules related to elected officials, the committee will ask President Clinton and Secretary Clinton all of its questions regarding Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, including, but not limited to, the personal relationships between the Clintons and Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell, and the ways in which Mr. Epstein and Ms. Maxwell sought to curry favor and exercise influence, as well as the operation of sex trafficking rings and ways for the federal government to effectively combat them without the proposed limitations on scope sought in your January 31st, 2026 letter. Can the witness please state his name for the record?
William Jefferson Clinton.
Thank you. My name is Jack Emmer, and I am the Chief Counsel of Investigations for Chairman Comer. Under the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform's rules, you are allowed to have counsel present to advise you during this deposition. Do you have counsel representing you in a personal capacity present with you today?
I do.
Will counsel please identify themselves for the record?
David Kendall, Williams and Connolly, LLP.
Catherine Turner, Williams and Connolly, LLP.
Cheryl Mills, counsel to the president.
Thank you. Starting with the majority, can members of Congress in attendance please identify themselves for the record?
Yeah, it started over. I guess they're just running it on a loop.
Yeah, James Comer, Chairman of the Committee from Kentucky.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace, South Carolina.
Eric Burleson from Missouri.
Congressman John McGuire,
Okay.
Virginia 5.
Congresswoman Anna.
Well, that was so weird, wasn't it?
Often name drop powerful people to give himself an air of credibility. Did he ever do that to you? Brag about people he knew in high places, kings, princes?
Yeah, he did a little bit.
Okay. Going back to what was mentioned earlier about the search warrant on October 20th in Palm Beach for Jeffrey Epstein. Mrs. Clinton testified yesterday. I think she mentioned that it appears he got a sweetheart plea deal, and I don't think anyone on this committee would disagree with that when Alex Acosta was the U.S. attorney down there. And we've already deposed Mr. Acosta, and we've got the transcripts and everything. There's a lot of speculation, as had been mentioned, that he may have been tipped off prior to the search warrant, that Epstein may have been tipped off. Are you aware that whether or not Sandy Berger may have tipped off Jeffrey Epstein?
The president just testified that he was unaware that anybody had been tipped off. So are you asking him to?
This explains why I was asked yesterday about him. But no, I don't. I know nothing about that, and I wouldn't.
Mr. Epstein was indicted by a grand jury on July 19th, 2006. According to an IRS Form 990 filed by the COUQ Foundation, a known Epstein entity, Mr. Epstein donated $25,000 to the William J. Clinton Foundation one day prior to Mr. Epstein's indictment. Are you aware of this donation?
I know that they told me that the records showed that he'd given $25,000.
When did you become aware of that, Mr. President? Were you aware of that then or in preparation?
No, now. I mean, when I was preparing for this.
Yes, sir. Did you solicit that donation from Mr. Epstein?
Not personally, I didn't know.
Did someone else solicit it?
I have no idea.
Do you know why Mr. Epstein made that donation?
He's asking you to speculate about what
No,
Mr.
I
Epstein
don't.
would be thinking.
We try to raise a fair amount of money every year to pay the bills.
It seems to me that as investigators were narrowing in on Mr. Epstein, he may have been trying to earn some goodwill with you. What do you think about that?
It wouldn't work.
Right. Did it ever seem to you that Jeffrey Epstein was trying to suck up to you or get on your good side in order to further his schemes?
No, I didn't think about it that way. I thought he wanted to do what he said. But he was, very idiosyncratic.
Right. After his arrest in 2006, did you have any further contact with Mr. Epstein?
I don't believe I did, no.
Did anyone affiliated with Epstein, including Ms. Maxwell, contact you on behalf of Jeffrey Epstein to discuss his arrest and the allegations against him?
No.
Did they ever ask, either Jeffrey Epstein or Ms. Maxwell ever ask you for their assistance once Epstein was in trouble?
No.
Or once Ms. Maxwell was in trouble?
No.
Did Jeffrey Epstein ever attempt to contact you while he was incarcerated in Florida?
No.
He didn't attempt ever to contact you?
Not as far as I know, no.
Yesterday, during the deposition of Secretary Clinton, she suggested that we follow the money with Epstein because there's a big question. How did he accumulate so much wealth? And I think you had testified earlier, and if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, that you didn't really know how he made his money. I mean, he had a big plane, and
I knew that he had made an extraordinary amount of money from Les Wexner, who was quite wealthy. I had no idea whether he had made enough to support the lifestyle that I saw.
And I assume you're aware Mr. Wexner testified under oath that he acted like he really didn't know Jeffrey Epstein very well, and which is kind of hard to believe because he paid him a lot of money and.
Yeah, he made him.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Yeah. Well, one of the things when we concluded the deposition yesterday, we asked Secretary Clinton, for her advice moving forward in the investigation. And with respect to a statement she said yesterday, it was something that we've done on the committee, the majority has done on the committee. In the past, we followed the money. We've subpoenaed bank records. We've subpoenaed suspicious activity reports from Treasury. Those were some of the things Ms. Clinton suggested. And in order to do that, obviously, we have to subpoena banks, specific banks for specific accounts. Do you ever recall in the conversations you had with Mr. Epstein, any particular bank that he was affiliated with or any particular big banks that maybe he had deals going?
No, he never asked me about that.
Okay.
And with that, we can go off the record.
All right, so that's the end of it.
Get to the Virgin Islands, other than on these planes, have you ever been in U.S. Virgin Islands in your life?
Oh, yes, I worked, my foundation did a lot of work in the Virgin Islands.
And you also vacationed there as president?
Well, yeah, and when I was president, Hillary and I vacationed there, and we liked it very much.
Okay.
But when I had the hurricane in 2017, we went to the islands and tried to help. My foundation did.
Okay.
And we did a lot of work there.
Well, what do you guys think? What's your takeaway? Clinton was a lecherous guy, but most of his meetings with Epstein were at the White House. The real scandal is how Epstein was an agent of Mossad and compromised all of our president. And not just our presidents, but the world leaders of other countries too, right? Like he was the exploitation of Prince Andrew is pretty shocking. He lied through his teeth. I think we had enough episodes of Cheryl Mills sort of losing her mind that, I think he'll have it. I think there'll be some trouble from this. 100% Clinton is very ordinary in this regard. The way he lit up at the word honeypot. Oh, he wanted to talk. Yeah, he thought that was so funny, didn't he? He liked that idea. We also have to remember he's a pretty old guy, right? He's nearly 80 at this point. So he probably isn't as sharp, as we remember him to be. But he still did pretty good, but boy, there was a few things that really got away from him. So, well, I'm anxious to watch Hillary's questioning. She doesn't look like she was nearly as pleasant as Bill, but I'm going to have to wait and do that on Wednesday. So Wednesday afternoon, I finish working at 2 on Wednesday. So I'll probably start at around 3:00 and try to watch 2 hours. And then I can do 2 hours on Thursday and try to get that. Epstein did his job and he had all of them compromised. Monica Lewinsky, there's a real argument to be made that she was a honeypot to enforce the release of spy Jonathan Pollard. That is a very good point, Maury. Yeah. Monica, there's no doubt Monica Lewinsky was manipulated by, was it Linda Tripp? I believe was that woman's name. It was like she got caught up in a mess, right? It was really, really sad. That'd be awesome. Hillary was acting like a hungry pit bull. Yeah, have you seen it, Cinnamon? Did you watch it? somebody said, and I don't remember who it was, somebody said that she got very angry during the questioning at one point, got up and left. So it'll be interesting to watch. I feel like I've been waiting for 15 years these days to arrive, and I'm here for it. I got old too. We all did, Cinnamon. When did we have life where Clinton scandal was not on the horizon? Like, it just seems like it's just a part of our lives, doesn't it? I can remember voting for Clinton and Gore. It was wild days. I saw a clip and she banged the table and left. There you go, Diane. That's what someone said. But like I said, I've got a 10-hour day tomorrow. I have no illusion I will do nothing tomorrow except work. But then on Wednesday I'll do 2 hours of Hillary, and Thursday I'll do 2 hours of Hillary. So I hope you guys will come back and join me and watch right along with me. Politics are not a very popular statement, I guess, topic in the true crime community, but this is crime related, right? So, but people like just take a whole hands off, approach where politics are concerned. But it is very interesting process. There's another thing I felt uncomfortable about today. I saw the clip of Savannah Guthrie and Annie Guthrie in the what's his name, Tommaso, I think. I didn't like the photo op. And I'm willing to be wrong about that. I don't really know how other people feel about it. And if everybody thought it was a really great, nice gesture, then I apologize. It felt too performative, I think, for me. It kind of reminded me of like when the Queen and Charles got out and looked at all the flowers when Princess Diana was murdered, or when Kate and William and Harry and Meghan walked around and looked at the flowers when the Queen passed away. And there, I just thought it just didn't feel, I don't know. It just felt very uncomfortable. I didn't like the strange whimpers from Annie. She was making these whimpering noises, but then, when you looked at her face, she wasn't crying. So I don't know. I hate to be judgmental. I don't want to be judgmental, but it just made me uncomfortable. It just seemed like a made for TV performance, and it just felt bad to me. I think we have more in common than not, the Democrats and Republicans. Plenty of space to find common ground. In truth, Maury, I think the Democrats and Republicans are all alike, and the division is probably between the elite class and then we the people. I think that's where the real division is. I think they do a lot of arguing and disagreeing for the cameras. But I think when they're all in there working together, I think they're all on the same page, so I don't know. I threw my hands in the air and said, I hate psyops. I really hope Granny's in a 5-star hotel and this is just one more game. I would embrace that thought, Cinnamon. Between the elite and the 99%, it's the real divide. I completely believe that. Completely believe it. I would want and demand a total get the hell out of here moment. Hey, fractured fairy tales. I hope you're doing good. Your commentary makes it a little easier to stomach. It's hard to stomach, isn't it? It is hard to stomach. The other thing that I would say, that I would just give my opinion on real fast, and then we'll end this. People are really divided on the Iran issue. Really divided. Probably more divided than they were like with the whole Ukraine problem. I know exactly what I believe and why I believe it. And just like you guys have heard me say about Afghanistan and the Taliban, I think that those women that are being forced to live in those patriarchal Islamic type of government structures, I think those women are living in slavery. Their clerics have actually come out and said that, you know, women are cattle, that God made them cattle, and they made them look like men so that the men wouldn't feel uncomfortable. But make no mistake about it, they're no different than farm animals that you would own. And there were women in 1979, when the revolution happened and the Shah was, exiled, and the religious Gulf Arabs took over Iran. There were doctors and female doctors and surgeons and teachers, and these were well-educated, self-sufficient women contributing to the greatness of their communities that were ripped off the streets and, a black sheet thrown over them and told to stay inside and do as the man of the house told them to do. And that was it for them. Their life was over, literally. And the abuse of little girls and young women, they have now had a generation with no hope, zero hope. The population, the people of Iran are really no different than the people of the United States or Europe. It is a group of people with amazing culture, brilliant intelligence. Before the 79 takeover, the number of people that were educated in their society was higher than any other country, including the US. And they were thrown back into the Stone Ages. It was really the desperation of the women and girls was so similar to the desperation that was felt by the Jewish people during the, Hitler era. So I am anti-war. I'm war weary. I hate regime change, all of that, the above, but that's a huge but. I am going to 100% stand behind removing the Islamic right out of power, get them out of there, and let the Iranians have their life back. The same exact way I felt about Afghanistan. We had no right to abandon those people. We had no right to do that. We promised them that we would be there and we would protect them. And that is not what happened. And I wept, it was horrible. So I do have a very tender, soft spot for women living in certain cultures. And I have, done my part when I could. And so I'm 100% grateful and happy at what has happened in Iran, even though it goes against my very basic orientation that I'm anti-war. I think it is miraculous that now there are women and girls and teens that now have hope. And yeah, the men were also being subjugated. It wasn't just women, it's just that the women were actually in slavery, right? But the men were being brutalized, they were being dominated, and the whole thing was just horrible. And in some ways, without using hyperbole, but in some ways, when Hitler fell, the questions were, how could the people of Germany let this happen? How could the people of Germany watch these concentration camps and not know what the Third Reich was up to? Like, how did they let it happen? And yet I'm sitting there saying, we're letting it happen again in Iran. And people can be mad about it because it involves this whole religious filter, I guess. But you have to understand the history of the region. The Gulf Arab states were the bringer of the Islamic radical right. And that is very different than Muslim religion. There's a huge difference between Muslims and Islamists. Islamists are like the skinhead Christian white supremacy right. That's the Islamist, right? So without the mullahs, Khomeini, they were not Iranian, right? They weren't from Iran. They literally, it was an Islamic takeover of a secular country. It was horrible. We never should have allowed it to happen. We really shouldn't have. We should have gone in there and cleaned house when it happened. So yes, it goes against my hardline, no war at all. But I have to support it because to enslave an entire group of women, girls, teenage women, no, we can't. That's the same thing as standing by as a German and letting the Third Reich do what they did. We just can't stand by. And for one, I'm hopeful now that Iran can become what it once was, which was a really beautiful, contemporary, modern society. So it's my hope, but we'll see. Maybe it goes, but maybe it turns out the same way Iraq did. I'm not a politician, but I am a woman, and it is disturbing to me to see these women that are literally subjugated and enslaved by patriarchal mentality. I just can't stomach it. I just can't. So let's see, lots happening behind the scenes. People have answered for things, and we all will see very soon. The people needed to be free. Totally agree. I have hope. I have optimism. I voted for this, and I'm grateful. There you go. So, okay. So I think I'm going to be quiet now because Bill is trying to sleep, and I need to go to sleep because I got work tomorrow. You guys are such good friends. Thank you for hanging out with me and watching this. There's not very many of us that are interested. So thank you, because I find this whole process fascinating. Really just fascinating. If for nothing else, but to watch Cheryl Mills' reaction. Okay, y'all sleep well. Thank you for hanging out with me and being my friends. And I will see you on Wednesday, and we'll do the Hillary questioning. Okay. All right. Good night, everybody.